Hey guys, Mickey Morris here, and today I wanted to share just some tips and some advice to anyone who is considering becoming an entrepreneur. Whether that means you leaving a current position as an employee, or maybe you don't have a job yet, or you're currently unemployed but you want to find something with some meaning in your life, and you want something that will give you a purpose and a drive to wake up in the morning, and so you've decided to either venture out to create something and become a small business owner, or maybe do something like I do as like an independent contractor. So this business is not the first business I've been in. I've actually been in a total of 4 businesses over the last 3 years, and so I wanted to take some of those ideals and the tips and tricks of the trade that I have learned and share it with you guys today. And I hope that it is encouraging and enlightening and pushes you and motivates you to do what has been put on your heart. So let's get started. So the first reason why people decide to venture out and do something on their own and become their own boss is because of finances. They are sick and tired of living paycheck to paycheck, and they're sick and tired of working hard and making somebody else wealthy. So you're gonna have a lot of options out there. I know for me, when I first started in direct sales, there were so many different people trying to recruit me, and I was naive and young, and I didn't do my due diligence and the research that I should have done, and that is probably the biggest reason why it took me so long to find something that actually worked for me, because I didn't know the right questions to ask. And I literally just said yes to the very first person who offered to put me on their team. And so some questions that you're gonna want to ask if it's something like a direct sales company and there is gonna be a compensation plan offered, is you're gonna need to know exactly how much you're gonna get paid. That means all the percentages on your personal sales, anybody below you, any type of compensation or bonus structure you want to know like the back of your hand. And not only that, but then take that information that they gave you and compare it to other companies. And not only that, but you want to look at how profitable people are actually being. One tip that I have picked up and that I've noticed is if you see someone that is part of a direct sales company and it seems like everyone is part of that direct sales company, but then you look at those people that are involved in those companies and they always have something else on the side, you can kind of assume that they're not making enough money with that one direct sales company to completely support them, and so they're looking for other avenues and other areas of revenue so that they can just live. So you want to find somebody, not bragging, but like myself, who does one job full time, because that's going to point you to the companies that are actually profitable. Now, if you are venturing out on your own and starting your own business, again, you're gonna want to know what you're looking at numbers wise. I think the number one mistake people make when they go into business for themselves, whether it's as an independent contractor or, completely starting up their own little shop, is they don't have a realistic idea of what those numbers are gonna look like, what that overhead is gonna look like, what the profit is actually gonna be, and how much time and energy is really gonna have to go into it in order for you to actually be successful with that. So that brings me to my second point, which is time and energy. I feel like a lot of the times when people are going to go into business for themselves or by themselves, they have this idea that because they're not going to be clocking in and they're not going to have a boss hanging over their head and constantly behind their back looking over their shoulder trying to figure out, how hard they're working, what they're doing, if they're worth it, you're constantly wondering like, am I going to lose my job? At first you're like, oh, this is great. I don't have to set an alarm. I don't have to get up at a certain time. I don't have to clock in. But the reality of it is, when you work from home, that's exactly what it is. You're actually working from home. Or even if you have a small business, I don't know if the type of business you're gonna go into is going to be like a boutique or a location where you're actually gonna have to go into. But from my personal experience, from working for doctors that have their own private practices that kind of branched off on their own, to having friends that own their own salons, to being a business owner myself and working 100% full-time from home, I think I can speak for all of us when I say we actually work 10 times harder for ourselves than we ever did when we were on payroll with somebody else. You not being an employee anymore doesn't mean that your workload is going to decrease necessarily if you want your business to be extremely profitable. I would just kind of put this out there that you're going to probably lose sleep over this, you know? Yes, I don't have to set an alarm clock anymore. Actually, unless I have to, I usually don't wake up until like 10 o'clock in the morning. However, I'm up until 1 or 2 in the morning every single day, whether that's reading self-development books, whether that's praying, whether that's meditating, whether that's reading my Bible devotions, whether that's speaking with potentials that are up late, whether that's working with my international team that is in the UK now because their time difference is so drastic from mine. So while I'm about to go to bed, they're getting up and starting their day, or whether that's filming a training video, or whether that's just looking at training videos myself and really investing in myself and making sure that I am absorbing all of the knowledge that I can, or whether that's speaking with teammates that need something, or whether that's speaking with someone who randomly hit me up in the middle of the night to ask me about the business and want to get started with it. I mean, I'm always working. So even though I don't have a set schedule, even though I don't wake up and go, oh my God, I'm running late, like I still have that sense inside of me, that driving motivation of I have to work today. What am I going to do today to do something that is income producing? What am I going to create today that is going to draw people to me? What am I going to put myself out there in what sense so that people can see me as a real person and are attracted to me as a leader and are attracted to me as a business owner and would want to go into business with me because they see me, you know, in this way or that way. So plus I am a mom to a 4-year-old little girl who is absolutely the light of my life, but is insanely difficult to deal with. And I'm a wife and I run my own home and we homeschool our daughter now. It's just, there's a lot, you know? And my brother did make a couch talk video making fun of the fact that I don't have multiple kids. So I am in no way saying that my life is harder than someone who has 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 kids or above, or that works full-time outside of the home. I completely respect your hustle. However, it's a lot, and I have almost 200 girls under me now, so every day my phone is just blowing up with things that they need guidance on or leadership on, and I love it. I am obsessed. I am in love with this business just as much, if not more so, than the day that I joined. I've never lost my fire. I've never lost my passion. I love, 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 love what I do, but it is a lot of work. And so I would really express to you, if you're thinking about going into this, don't think that this is going to be something that's going to immediately free up your timetable. Now, 5 to 10 years down the road, when you're making 5, 6, 10, 20, 30, 40, $100,000 a month with a business like what I do, yeah, you're going to have a lot more freedom and time in your schedule, and you're gonna have the flexibility to be like, oh, hey, I wanna go on a vacation to Hawaii or the Caribbean, and I make $20,000 a month, so I can do that at a drop of a hat, no problem. But in those building stages, when you are just barely investing in yourself, and when I'm talking about in those beginning stages, people think like, oh, that's a couple months. That can be a couple years, and I think that timetable also needs to be at the forefront of your mind, that it's okay if it takes a little bit longer, because time is going to mean something completely different to you when you are working for yourself. For example, for me, I never know what day of the week it is, ever. I was shocked when I woke up today and I was like, oh my gosh, it's Friday. Like, what the heck? It just felt like it was Monday. However, I always know what day of the month it is because of how our commissions work and how my goals are set up. So time just becomes a whole different ball game when you are doing something like this for yourself. You're not, I don't have to look forward to Fridays or dread Mondays, because that's not my life anymore. I'm not forced to do anything. I work on my own time. I work on my own schedule. But I really do want to accentuate to you that the key word is work. You can't go out and expect everything to be handed to you, or for it to be just 10 times easier. Although, if you are somebody like me who's been in extremely verbally abusive situations at work or stressful situations, in that sense, it does get a lot easier because you're not dealing with all of that pressure constantly. I mean, I love working for myself. I don't have anybody telling me what to do, how to do it, studying my creativity, telling me, what I'm doing wrong, threatening to fire me. I never have to worry about any of that. And in that sense, it's amazing. And it's so much easier to work for myself. But I just want to make it so clear that you really want to go into it prepared to just work your butt off, but also with the knowledge that your dreams will 100% be at the end of that. So this is kind of an interesting little segue into point 3, but I really want to encourage you guys to do the research, not only just on the company that you go into or the business that you're going to be going into, but do research on the business partner, the actual individual that is asking you to go into business with them. If there is going to be a partnership, or if there is going to be like an upline and downline situation, don't just join somebody because they make a lot of money. Don't just join somebody because they live a lavish lifestyle. Don't just join somebody because they're the #1 recruiter in their company or they have awards lining the wall. Because in my experience, sometimes those people are so goal driven and so money driven that they don't care about you as an individual. You are a number to them. And that's very sad. And I don't agree with that at all. And it makes me very angry when I see people that have all of these titles and all this respect in a certain company, and they just blatantly don't deserve it. But don't be fooled by that. Don't be drawn into that or attracted to somebody just because of how much money they make. You shouldn't necessarily be impressed by how much money they make. You should be impressed, and you should be more focused on how they got there. Were they integral? Were they honest? Did they step on people to get their way up? Are they bullies? Are they an incredible leader and they just motivate everybody under them and they're amazing at teamwork and that's how they got to their position? Did they bribe somebody? Were they bribed by someone? Is there things going on behind the scenes that you don't want to necessarily be a part of? It's a little bit more tricky before you get into a business to really see what goes on behind the scenes, but I would really encourage you to reach out to people that have worked with them in the past, people that you feel like will give you an honest opinion, and just ask them confidentially, how is this person to work with, or how is this person to work under? What are their leadership qualities like? What do they do to motivate their team? Are they more of a tough love person? Are they constantly going to be down my back, on my neck, telling me all the things I'm not doing? Are they more patient and gentle and loving, and they're going to give me that space to grow? And are they more of a spiritual leader, or are they more of a worldly leader? You really need to know that stuff going into it, because I promise you it's going to affect you. I won't go too deep into it, but that is something that I have personally learned in this business, and not just in this business. There have been a couple of other businesses that I was in as well that I was like, wow, like I really should have done my research a little bit more before I jumped into this. And I love this business so much, and I know God led me to it, and now I totally feel called to just completely create my own lane and really have my own ideals and my own priorities and my own expectations for the team that I create and that I lead and the girls that come under me. And it's very different than a lot of the other leaders in my business and in other businesses decide to go with. But I would say, in closing, make sure that you know who you're joining under. Don't just join under them because they are the first person to come to you and ask you if you want to join their team. Don't just join somebody because they seem to be really successful and have a high rank and be making a lot of money. You need to like them as a person, and you need to be okay with the way that they run their business. So make sure that their ethics line up with yours, that their morals line up with yours, that their belief system lines up with yours. That's a big thing if spirituality is a big deal to you. Make sure that they have your love language, your leadership style, or at least you guys can work on a level where you feel inspired and motivated by them. So if tough love isn't your thing and everyone that you talk to is like, yeah, you know, this person is amazing, but they're really hard on us and they show us lots of tough love, and that's not how you communicate and that's not how you work well, find somebody else. Find somebody that is more gentle, more kind. It just depends. Like for me personally, I tell people when they're joining my team, I am a very, 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 very strong Christian. And so a lot of my training material or my encouragement or my motivation or my inspirational messages that I send through are biblically based. So if that is a problem for somebody or that's offensive to them, I tell them straight up, I am not the leader for you, because that is something that I weave intricately into my life and into my business and into my team. I pray over every single person on my team by name. And so if that makes you uncomfortable, I'm not the leader for you. However, my sisters in Christ are like, wow, that's amazing. I would love to have a leader like that. I would love for you to cover me and my business in prayer. Absolutely, I would love to do business with you. So that's just an example, but definitely make sure that you jive and that you're on the same wavelength with whoever you decide to join under, because it is so important. Trust me, it is so important, especially in a business like this. Now, if you're going into business completely by yourself, you're obviously not going to necessarily have that issue. However, when you're bringing people in, whether it's as an assistant or as a business partner later on or as an employee, I would highly suggest really doing your research on them too, especially since this is your baby. You're going to be bringing somebody into your space and your heart and your creativity, and you definitely don't want anybody to kind of throw that off, and you want to make sure that they have the same vision as you. So that brings me into my last point. You want to be somewhere where somebody is going to allow you to be yourself. You want someone that is going to allow you to be creative. I was thinking about today how many times in my life I've had, whether it's been in school or working for somebody else or a creative performance or whatever, where I wanted to put a certain spin on something, or I believed that there was a different way to do something, or I felt drawn to do something a certain way, and I had everyone like totally doubting me, putting me down, telling me I wasn't enough. And that has been the biggest joy about this business, and the biggest joy about running by myself and being my own boss, being my own leader, not having to answer to literally anyone, is that I do things the way that I feel called to do it. If I don't feel that they are healthy, or I don't feel like they are productive, or I don't feel like they match up with my vision, and I don't feel like they match up with what I'm called to do, or it just doesn't flow well with me, I don't feel that the ethics are there, or that it's a little bit, it just doesn't line up with my morals or what I'm comfortable with, I don't have to do it. And that has been the nicest thing about this business, and the nicest thing about working for myself is that I get to run things the way that I see fit. And so I would really encourage you, if you are a creative person like me, which you most likely are if you are looking to be an entrepreneur, is make sure that you have that creative freedom. Make sure that you are able to express yourself in a professional and ethical way without somebody shutting you down. So, and that is one of the things that I definitely encourage my girls to do. I think individuality is so important. I think that when you go into a business for yourself, you don't want to become something that you're not. You don't want to immediately become adsy or salesy or pushy. You should live your business as a lifestyle. It's not a job, it's not a hobby, it's not a burden, it's not an obligation, it's a joy. And it's a blessing to be able to do something like I do and something like you're looking to do. So those are my main tips. If you are looking to do something along the lines of what I do, if you are interested in exactly what I do and you would be interested in going into a business with me as a business partner, I am always looking for people to partner up with. So you can absolutely message me. I will leave my social media links on the last screen, and you can privately message me either on Instagram or you can email me. So I hope that this was enlightening, and I hope that this was a fun little video just to kind of give you some guidance and direction. And I just really want to congratulate you and encourage you to follow your dreams. Don't let anybody stop you. Don't let those naysayers, even if they're in your family, even if you've known them forever and you consider them your best friend, don't allow them to ever dull your light or dull your shine. And don't let them take your dreams away from you, because you deserve it. You deserve to be successful and happy, and you deserve to have that life that you've been dreaming about. So thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys on the next video. Bye.